Great, great. Thanks, Zach. We're live. What an amazing November we're having, right? Bitcoin very, very close to all-time highs. Ethereum breaking through 500. Sell token $2.25. I feel like I'm an anchor on the CNN breaking news, right? So we have this new setup for you. Still in my house here in New York at the Crypto Castle on 63rd Street and Lexington Avenue. Maybe one day you'll come and join us in the studio, right? So a lot of breaking news. Amazing week for Celsius. All-time record users, all-time record deposits, and obviously all-time record interest paid out. So Cell token inching out the interest we paid, $2.2 million for the week, right? So that's almost like $9 million for the month run rate. And again, Celsius is always the largest buyer of Cell token in the market, still continues to be. Again, more users, more deposits, more interest income, more loans, more interest income, and more tokens being bought out of the market. The
The
formula
flywheel just keeps
has
going.
not changed. That's right. The formula has not changed in 3 years. We have not changed anything. You can read our white paper from 2017. You can look at what we do every day, and you will see that we just do the same thing again and again. Everybody else is jumping through hoops, trying to come up with new, better ways. We're sticking with just giving everything we can back to the community. Close to $100 million in interest paid to date. That's $100 million. If you know anyone else who paid the community $100 million, let me know, right? So we brought our friends here, the huddle friends, you know, and hopefully, again, very soon you'll be able to buy some of these things on our store. If you go to our homepage, scroll all the way down, there's a hidden link all the way at the bottom that says shop or store, whatever it says there, but it's all the way on the bottom on the right side, right? So it's a little hard to find, and market, and we're adding items there every week, new items. Let's talk about other stuff. We added comp or compound. So if you have comp, you can now earn 7.5%. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do farming. You don't have to do staking. You don't have to do anything. Just deposit in Celsius. You earn 7.5%. We love your comp. Send it over. You know, take a loan. This is a great time. If you're making all this money on Cell token, you're making all this money on Bitcoin or Ethereum or any of your favorite coins, now is the time to take a loan. Right in the app, you just click take a loan, 3 clicks and you have a loan. Everyone is approved. Okay, we pre-approve everyone. Why? Because it's called an asset-backed loan. In an asset-backed loan, you do not need to check somebody's credit or their income. Do they have a job? All the things that banks do, we don't do that. We don't need to do that because you already gave us assets. We're just giving you a loan against your assets. So everybody's pre-approved. 1% loan, right? So you can take a 1% loan and pay off your 24% on your credit card, right? Isn't that amazing? I got several emails just today from some of you who have done that, right? And they feel much, much better because they don't pay thousands of dollars to the credit card company or to the bank, right? So do that. Let's see what else we have here. So we are about, I hope next week we will be publishing our audit, which will count all of our assets under management, AUM, plus all the Celsius asset. And we will tell you how much we have in each bucket. Rough estimate is that we have something like 2.5 billion in AUM, in assets under management, and we have something like 700 million of our own assets, right? And as we've said many times before, if anything bad happens, we will always go into our own pockets first, into the company's pockets. The few hundred million that we have will come up in front of anything that happens to your token. Why is that? I have over 100 million in the Cell wallet. I've never disclosed my numbers before, but today I have Bitcoin, Ethereum, I have USDC, I have USDT, I have all kind of other assets, a lot of Cell token as well. Over 100 million sitting right next to you, right? Just like this chair right here. My Bitcoin sitting next to your Bitcoin. My Ether sitting next to your Ether. earning exactly the same amount. We're all in the same pool. So the protection that I'm talking about is also protection for me, just like it is protection for you, right? So when you hear people talking about insurance policy, again, no one paid. I have not seen a single example of somebody paying out. Credit just went out of business. Do you think their insurance company is going to pay anything? They're not. They're not going to pay anything for that. So instead of insurance for cold storage, which is something that we can't really use because the coins are lent out, the best thing to have is a very large balance sheet, is to have hundreds of millions of dollars that are there in case something bad happens. And that's what we're going to be publishing next week, audited by an external firm. So you can basically see it's not just us telling you that, but also a third party validating everything we're telling you. Earn and sell in the United States, that's coming soon. Again, just working out last kinks, and we will be announcing it. It will only be available to accredited, but many of you are accredited, and many of you that don't know that you are accredited, if you look at your sell balance and it's high enough, and you have basically, besides your home, if you have enough, at least $1 million besides your home, so all your stocks, your sell tokens, your Bitcoin, then you qualify, or you earning $200,000, or with your wife, you're earning $300,000. Right?
Alex, what's the process for if I've got $1 million worth of assets in Celsius? How can I use that to prove that I'm accredited?
Yeah, so we don't do the accreditation. You have to use a company called verifyinvestor.com, and you will be sending them your stock statement, your statement from Celsius, which you can get at app@celsius.network. And so basically, if you request us to write you a letter, we will write you a letter from Celsius saying, Zach has $1 million worth of assets with us. We're not going to say exactly which assets. Verify Investor doesn't care. What they want to see is that you have enough assets that are not your home or your income to verify that you are qualifying under the SEC rules, right? We're also still hiring people, even though we already hired 25 people in the last few weeks. We opening 50 new positions, 50 new positions. So if you have not applied, jobs@celsius.network. Just email jobs@celsius.network. Tell us why it's important that we hire you. If you know somebody inside Celsius that can vouch for you, that is a huge advantage. That will definitely get you to the front of the line. So if you can convince Zach to vouch for you, you can convince Wasim or Nuke or anybody else inside the company to vouch for you. Those are the things that are going to get you to the front of the list. And obviously, all of our employees get nice salaries. They get sell token for free, basically, just vests over time. And they get equity in the company, right? You can't beat that, right? Zach, how is that package you got?
I love it. It's beautiful and getting more beautiful every day.
That's right. So we're here to, again, do good and do well. There's no reason not to do well. We're showering our employees with everything we can to make them work hard for the community. And again, as long as the community benefits from all that stuff, then it's a win-win relationship. Who loses? These guys, banks who are not your friends, right? Because we are withdrawing stuff from the banks. All of you are withdrawing more and more assets. When you pay down your credit card, that is the same thing as withdrawing assets out of the bank, because you're taking debt that the bank created. That's fake money that the bank created, okay? By giving you that balance on the credit card, that money doesn't exist. The bank created that money. If you have a $10,000 on your credit card, the bank created that $10,000. It doesn't really exist. The Fed didn't print that money. Apple didn't make that in profit. The bank just created out of thin air. Poof. It's called fractional reserves. They're allowed to do that, believe it or not, right? So when you pay that back, they have to collapse that debt. They retire that debt. All that debt disappears, and that value is moving over to the crypto world, right? So we're moving assets. We are the bridge that moves more and more assets from the old world, from these banks, to all of us, right? And again, banks are not our friends. They're not here to help us out. They've been milking the the 99% for the last 100 years. It's time that we just get a divorce and walk away and go from fiat land to crypto land. If I couldn't make it any clearer,
And we're
okay? If
seeing,
you
Alex,
haven't been
like
listening,
there's a ton of major investors. Stan Druckenmiller came out. Now we're seeing celebrities. I mean, everybody is catching the Bitcoin bug, and we haven't even broken into new highs.
yes. So I've been saying all year we're going to hit new highs, and we're very close. And again, it's a combination of two things, right? It's a halvening, which definitely reduced the amount of new Bitcoin being created by 50%, right? That happened in May, and all of the swell, this mass adoption happening in retail. This is not institution. I know keep thinking, oh, PayPal, it's an institution. No, PayPal is 300 million retail guys. Line Corp, look at linecorp.com, okay? That's one of our partners. 600 and something million, I think 620 million customers, twice as big as PayPal, right? So when they offer it to their users, that's where the adoption is. It's all retail adoption. That's what we want. I've been saying that the 4-man relay race. If you haven't watched me, watch. There's plenty of videos here that tell you all that in detail. So if you haven't seen it, go and watch the detail. Okay, so I want to talk about a few things today. So um, first thing is that what is the biggest difference between Celsius and all these other companies, right? Binance, Coinbase, Aave, Uniswap, Compound. It doesn't matter if you are a DEX or if you are a DeFi or if you are a centralized exchange. All of these things are the same thing, meaning they are a marketplace that is neutral. The marketplace, like Coinbase, does not care if the buyer or the seller gets a good deal, right? Their job is to just match the two people, charge a fee, and try to do as many transactions as possible. Same thing with Uniswap, right? Uniswap, even though it's a great project and I love it, does not represent you, the buyer, or you, the seller. Or Aave does not represent you, the borrower, or you, the lender, right? They're neutral, right? And that's how it's structured. Most marketplaces are neutral. Celsius is the only company that came up with a business model where we are not neutral. We are not like all these other guys. We're not like Coinbase or like Binance or any of those guys, right? Why? Because our job is to pool all the assets of the 230,000 people that use us every day and then extract as much as possible. Yes, we are extracting profit, extracting interest from the institutions, right? So our community hodls, and while we work very hard on behalf of the community, we, Celsius, work very hard on behalf of the community to negotiate the highest rates possible. And that's why we launch Compound, for example, with a rate that is higher than what Compound pays themselves, right? Because we can extract even more being not neutral, representing the depositors, then Compound can extract on their own platform, right? So these are examples of why Celsius earns more than almost everybody else consistently, right? Also, we have multiple sources of income. We don't just lend to the retail community like Compound or Aave, right? We don't make fees from transactions, right? We don't charge any fees. All of our income comes from others paying the interest, institutions, exchanges, DeFi, and retail, right? We lend to retail, margin lending. When you want to pay a credit card, we lend you the money to pay off your credit card, right? Other Celsians benefit because you took a loan. So all those sources together are blended together, and every week we publish the rate that is the rate that prevails that week, which really correlates to what we earned the week before. All right, so repeating a lot of what I said before. I know some of you are yawning and saying, oh my God, why does he have to talk about that? So let's talk about the topic of the day, and then we're going to jump into questions. Zach is collecting both from the chat and from questions you submitted ahead. It's not too late. You can submit your questions right now and make
Yeah,
sure
we're
that
actually
they
doing
don't.
something special this week. Go on Twitter and tweet hashtag Celsius AMA, and we're pulling questions directly from Twitter. So Celsius or hashtag Celsius AMA, and we'll be taking those questions.
Great. So, and we have a special. So definitely stay on every AMA. We have a special. So stay. Even Zach doesn't know what the special today is. I didn't tell him. So, all right. No one in Celsius know what the special is today because I decided to make it a surprise for everybody. So we'll see if they start sweating or they quit or they just get more energy because it's definitely going to create more work for all the Celsians out there.
Yeah.
So again, that's why we need help because we need a lot more people to manage all these programs that Alex pops up in his head. So I want to talk to you guys today about why do you have a job or why do you do what you do, right? So each one of you, when you look at your life, right, and you look at your job, I think the stats are that 70% of the people don't like their daily job. They don't like what they do every day. And the only reason that you still get up every morning and you go to your job is because you need the money. You need the income to pay for your family, to pay for your loved ones, you saving for college, whatever the reason is, right? The point is that you need to basically save or make enough money to do this. So and so basically, if you had enough money, if you made $1 million, right, and you had it in your bank account, there's a pretty high chance you would quit your day job and you would go and find another job. So I want you to start imagining in your head, what is that perfect job? What would you do if you had $1 million in the bank and you didn't have to worry about how much they pay you, and you could just walk to your boss and say, thanks, but no thanks, I'm out of here, right? And go and do what you want to do, right? Volunteer or go and do something good that not necessarily pays you a lot of money. So those are the things that saving and investing in the future allows you to do. Like that is one of the main reasons, for example, that you should be doing this hodling that I'm talking about, right? So if you don't imagine that in your head and you decided in your head, no, that's it. This is a job I have for the rest of my life. This is what it's going to be. I'm stuck in this environment. And you're not going to be that happy, right? So when you start imagining, okay, this is how I'm going to pay off my credit card. This is how I'm going to get, I'm going to help my kids go through college. This is how I'm going to pay off my student loans. This is how I'm going to pay off my car. This is how I'm going to get a new job. Then each time you make that investment, each time you're about to purchase something, you think to yourself, my God, this $200 can work for me for the rest of my life. It can accrue interest and earn compounding interest for the rest of my life, right? That is the piece that most people miss. And unfortunately, again, all the retailers, all the guys you see advertising on TV, all they do every day, and now we're about to hit the holiday season. What do? They're all trying to get you to spend on money. They're like, forget about the future. Borrow from the future. Don't invest in the future. Here is a credit card. Borrow from the future. Take money you don't have and spend it right now, right? You should get that instant gratification right now. And guess what? You'll pay us interest for the rest of your life. So instead of earning for the rest of your life, instead of having income for the rest of your life, they want you to pay them for the rest of your life, right? So you have to decide, are you falling for that BS or are you going to invest in yourself? Those are the decisions. And it's not easy. I'm not telling you it's easy, right? But that's what you have to do. You have to take the scissors and cut those credit cards. You have to take that money, put it away, and invest in yourself. Put those goals in front of you, right? Of getting a different job, getting enough money for retirement, getting to financial freedom, financial independence, where you have enough income to not have to worry about your bills. Obviously, I'm there. And I have the best job in the world. I get to sit here and talk to you guys. I don't know why they pay me for this job. I love what I do every day. You can see that. I work 7 days a week, but I'm not really working, right? So somebody said to me, hey, why don't you call it the Mashinsky method? I'm calling it the Mashinsky method, right? So it is not complicated. It is not hard. What's hard is when you have $20,000 in your credit card balance and you have shackles and you're like this and you have a kid and you have a family and you feel like there's no chance. There's no way I'm getting out of this. And I got to work a second job just to keep up with what I already have, with the mess I got myself into. So you didn't get yourself in that mess with one transaction. You kept piling up on that credit card. Now do the reverse. Pay it off slowly. It doesn't mean you have to pay it off all at once. Even if you pay a few $100s off, and then again and again, you're not selling your assets, you're hodling. As long as these assets increase in value, your overall nest egg continues to grow while you're reducing your debts. Those are the things you have to focus on. All right, let's see if I covered it all. All right, one more idea that I'm doing right now. Okay, so there's only one way to take advantage of the fact that the government is printing all this money, right? So because the banks and the Fed and everybody else is printing trillions of dollars, again, the 20% of all the dollars that were ever created in the last 200 years were printed this year, created out of thin air this year. 20%, right? Did your salary go up 20%? Did your bill suddenly go down 20%, right? So there's 20% more money. You don't feel it. You don't know where it's gone. Most of it gone to the stock market. The banks are lending it to financial institutions who are playing in the stock market. So how do you benefit from that, right? It's very hard for the average Joe to get access to those dollars. It's called a centillion effect. Only 2 or 3 years from now, you're going to feel it as higher prices in your restaurant, higher prices to buy your groceries, all that stuff. And there's nothing you can do about it. But there is one trap that the banks are in right now that they cannot solve. And the trap is that if they lend you money today, if you qualify to refinance your mortgage, right, to lower the rate now is as the lowest it's been, I think, in 50 or 70 years. If you can refinance and lock in that rate and increase the value of your home, hopefully increase, right? You can basically take money out of the bank. The bank will lend you dollars today and you will return it to them 10, 20 years from now. Now, we know for sure that those dollars 10 or 20 years from now are going to be worth much less, maybe half of what they're worth today. So even if you're paying 2 or 3% interest on it to the bank, that is definitely something that is good for you and bad for them. It's very bad for the banks. That's why I keep saying, all the US largest banks, the 5 largest banks that have half of all the assets in the United States, are all going to have to be bailed out by the government because they have so much real estate. They lent out money. They don't own the real estate. They just lent money to real estate. The value of the real estate goes up, but they're going to get dollars back, and those dollars are going to be worthless because the government is printing so much money, right? And the Fed is printing so much money. So you can take advantage of it. You can basically borrow from the bank, put the liability on their balance sheet, pay them slowly over time, as long as those assets are earning more than what you are borrowing them. So if you're paying 2 or 3% to the bank, and you can put them, for example, in stable coins and earn 7, 8, 10%, then you're making free money. You're making basically money out of nothing, right? You borrowed like the big boys. You borrowed at 3% and you lent it to Celsius or someone else at 7, 8. Right now it's 10%, right? You can earn 10%. I'm not saying it's going to stay there, but even if it goes down to 7%, it's still phenomenal profit for you, while the bank is losing money, right? So the special program that we're launching today, which Zach is like, Zach, you ready for it?
Hit me with it. Give the people what
Hit
they
me with
want.
it. Normally we're just giving people a promo code, but today we're announcing something new. So we're announcing that if you want to give us dollars and you're worried, like a lot of people are basically saying, I don't know if I can trust this Mashinsky. Yeah, he's been talking to me for 2 or 3 years now, and I still don't know. I can't make that first deposit. So we will give you, if you give us USDC or USDT, meaning stable coins, which we pay you normally 10% on, and you don't want any risk, we will give you Cell token as collateral. Now, again, this program may not be available in the United States. I have to check with my lawyers and this and that. I did not talk to them before this. I did not consult my advisors before this. But basically, if you give us USDC or USDT, and you are allowed to take that collateral, we will give you Cell as collateral, meaning you have now the same value that you gave us. So you have no risk, right? Or you have very little risk. but the rate is going to be lower. So instead of 10%, you'll be making 4.5%, right? But you have in your wallet cell token that is sitting there. If for any reason we don't want to pay you back, or we use the money inappropriately, or I don't know what, you have the cell token, right? So there's a term to the loan, there's terms and conditions, there's sign up and this and that. But basically we're designing this for people who are on the edge. They want to participate, they want to join, but they're feeling like, something here is wrong. So here is the company is going to go to its treasury and give you the bank. By the way, when you deposit money in the bank, they give you an IOU, meaning the bank owes you money. That's it. That's all you have from them. You think that you put the money in the bank and it's sitting in some fancy safe, or it's being given to the Fed. That's not what's happening, right? They just, anytime you give them money, they actually write a liability on their balance sheet. They're saying, sorry, we owe this guy some money, issue an IOU, or you owe him, right? So you can join this program. We're gonna test it out, right? We need to add a few people to the OTC desk to actually process this, but email otc@celsius.network. We will start it at only $100,000 because we want to get started slowly and make sure that people, that we can process everything and we have the procedures and everything else. So if you want to put $100,000, get $100,000 worth of sell. Email otc@celsius.network, and we will try to help you with that transaction. You can still buy sell through otc@celsius.network. We still give up to 5% discount. And
Alex, to talk about that, because that's a big drop and people are going to want some clarity. So you're saying,
so before you, just one more punchline. Okay, so go ahead. Sell token via otc@celsius.network, 5% discount. And you can now pay you used to be able to pay in wire transfer or USDC. We're now adding USDT, we're adding Bitcoin or Ethereum. So we'll do it and the quote that they give you is only good for a few hours. Don't come to me 2 days later and say, well, I'm ready to do the transaction. You gave me a price 2 days ago. When sell token was 215, now it's 225. I want those sell tokens. No. So if you make a commitment, you need to go to your wallet and send the money, and you're going to get those tokens right away. If you sit on your hands, if you don't move, that quote no longer is valid, right? So Zach, you were saying.
Okay, so a couple things we got to clarify. Now, if we want to buy OTC, we have the option to send Bitcoin, Ethereum, and USDT.
Yes, those are the new additions that you can send to pay for your sell tokens. Instead of just paying in wire transfer or USDC, you'll be able to basically pay with additional coin. Again, there might be some restrictions. The OTC desk will tell you if you qualify or not. Again, we don't decide based on where, we like you, we don't like you. It has to do with, for example, if you are in the state of Texas, there's a restriction for using stablecoin. So we will not be able to accept USDC or USDT. So it's things like that that has to do with local regulation, us staying compliant. And again, some things are restricted for US users and things like that. But again, you don't have to buy it from us. There's plenty of liquidity right now. Cell traded something like $15 million yesterday or the day before in one day, right? So it's plenty of liquidity. So if you want to buy your $100,000 or $200,000, it was much better to do it on on the OTC desk, but now you can do it on Uniswap, you can do it on Liquid, and so on. So those are kind of like the high level things. And then I think we covered
the other thing.
Yep.
We got to cover that first subject. So you're saying if I've got 100,000 in USDC, I can transfer it to Celsius, and they're going to give me $100,000 worth of cell token to hold.
Yes. And if the cell token goes up in value, we're either going to ask you to give us back some of the cell, or you can send us more dollars and you will earn more interest, right, on those extra dollars. So we are going to net it off. If the cell token goes down in value, we will send you more cell. So at any time, you will always be more or less one-to-one, right? So you don't have that risk. Today, when you give us money or you give us tokens or coins, you are hoping for the best, right? You're sitting there and you're worrying a little bit, and if something happens, you don't sleep at night. But this way, you will hold those tokens in your own wallet. We don't care. You don't hold them. You don't have to hold them in the Celsius wallet. You can hold them in cold storage. You can hold them on some other exchange, right? You can hold them on Liquid, for example, right? So all we care about is that you feel comfortable that those assets that you're depositing with us,
Okay, I see.
you have collateral against them, right? We want to build that.
I see.
We want to make a trust deposit with you before you make that coin deposit with us. That's the best way
Okay,
to
so
say it.
you're saying to the new user that, hey, if you're not comfortable, you're gonna transfer us a little money, and we're gonna give you some of our collateral as good faith. So
Yes,
there's two sides to that. I see.
yes, and we're starting it just with USDC and USDT. So those are the two assets we're talking
Okay.
about. Okay, so all
All
right,
right.
I think that's it for me. Thank you guys very much. No, I'm just kidding. Let's do the questions.
Okay. Again, submit your questions to hashtag Celsius AMA on Twitter. We are getting a lot of them right now.
And tell us about the setup, right?
Let's
This
see.
is We're still in the same room, but don't you like our studio? It looks like I could have put CNN behind me and told you I'm Wolf Blitzer and do the breaking news. You know, Cell token hits $2.25 on its way to infinity and beyond. Breaking news. Every second it's breaking news, you know? All right, Zach, where are we?
Okay. A question from Wander Rain. He asks, "What do you say to the argument? Don't put all your eggs in one basket."
It's a great argument. You should never put all your eggs in one basket. And people that tell me they have whatever 90% of their assets with Celsius, I tell them that's not a good thing. So just like you should not put all your eggs in the stock market, or you should not put your eggs in one bank, or you should not put anything in one location. So I definitely agree with that. And you heard me on many shows talk about allocations. I'm not telling anyone. I think the best portfolio allocation, which is also my portfolio allocation, is 60% in stocks. If you want some bonds, fine, but I have almost 0% in bonds, right? I have maybe a little bit in some retirement plan or 401k or something like that. But I don't want to have any stocks. I want to have digital community stocks, digital economy stocks, right? So what are those stocks? Netflix, Zoom, right? Amazon, all those things that benefit from the digital economy. And I don't want all the other stock, the airlines, the cruise companies, the manufacturing companies, all those guys are not for me. Okay, so that's 60% of the portfolio, still more than half. 20% in gold or gold-like assets, right? Why? Because we don't know. No one can tell you that Bitcoin is just going to do phenomenally well. We hope, we think, but there's no guarantees. So gold is like another insurance policy, and I buy tokenized gold. I like Pax Gold. I like Tether Gold. So those I hold. Some of them I hold in the Celsius wallet, right? And they earn interest. And the third asset is another 20%, which is digital assets, right? So maybe half of it in Bitcoin. So 10% out of the 100, right? Half of the 20%, another 5% in Ethereum, and then other things. For me, obviously, I have much more in Cell token. So that skews my entire holding. But if I just kind of carve out Cell and say, okay, I don't have any Cell, right? What am I holding? That is the allocation, right? So that's what I do. Again, this is not financial advice. I'm not your lawyer or accountant or financial advisor. All I am is a guy on YouTube who's telling you what he's doing. Next question.
All right. Doug is asking, just getting into this, where are you located? Like, where's your headquarters? In Malta?
No, Malta. Malta is a pirate island. Look it up, right? For thousands of years, every pirate ended up or started up in Malta. So definitely not there. And some of our competitors are based there. or at least claim they're based there. We are
Right.
incorporated in the UK. You can look it up. Go to our website, and there's a button that says "Why trust Celsius?" on the upper right side. Maybe Zach can share the screen and show you exactly where that is. So if you click on that button, "Why trust Celsius?" and you scroll down just a little bit, you will see where we incorporated, what licenses we hold, where are we registered, where do we file our audits. So all that information is fully transparent. And I understand the question, because you're right. Many companies, you never know who the leaders are, where do they reside, where is the company incorporated. And so we are governed by the laws of the United Kingdom, right? Those are the kind of the governing laws. And the UK is one of the more regulated countries when it comes to finance, right? I mean, they used to be, just like the dollar now is the reserve currency of the world, the British pound was the reserve currency of the world before the US dollar, right? And they ruled the world, literally ruled the world by sea and by land. So they have hundreds of years worth of laws, much more than the United States, much longer, you know, track record of basically enforcing all these different things. So we have to comply with all the UK laws. And when we do business in the United States, like I'm based in the US and we have US customers, we have to comply with laws in the United States. It's not like we can pretend, oh, we're in Malta and none of the rules apply. That's not how the world works. In each country,
No.
if we are offering our service in that country, for example, in Japan, we don't have a license. That's why we partnered with Line Corp, and the service is called BitMax, not to be confused with BitMEX. BitMax is a beautiful, very high quality exchange in Japan that offers interest income provided to you by Celsius Network. But the company providing the service is Line Corp, which is the license holder in Japan. In Germany, our partner is Bitwala. They are a license holder, right? So they work with Solaris Bank. We are providing them the interest income, right? So these are the things that we do to stay compliant, to make sure that we're not endangering your money. Because you see, even if you are compliant everywhere, but you're not compliant in the United States, the US regulator can basically issue a subpoena and freeze your assets, right? And they freeze all the assets. They don't just freeze, they don't know whose assets are what. They will freeze your assets and my assets next to each other. So our goal from the beginning was 100% KYC, 100% AML, right? Which is not the case even now, like whatever, 10 years later, there are exchanges and services who are just now starting to do KYC and AML because they're forced to, because the regulators are basically holding them by the neck and saying, hey, you either do it or you're going to go to jail. So we decided to do it from day one. All of you know, if you're a member of Celsius, if you're Celsian, you have done KYC. And we continuously do AML, anti-money laundering, watching all your transactions to make sure there's no bad apples in that 230,000 people who are using Celsius. Next question.
All right. KDB's asking, Mashinsky, now that Cell is at 225 and Celsius AUM is at 2.6 billion, how much is the company worth? Is Celsius a unicorn now?
It's my third unicorn: Arbanet, Transit Wireless, and Celsius. So
Is this your fastest one?
It's definitely my fastest one, yes. Go online and do a search. How many founders had 3 unicorns, created 3 unicorns? Go do a search worldwide. Let's see what the consensus is. How many people in the world? I think Elon Musk is one of them, right? Because he created Tesla and SpaceX and
Solar
PayPal.
City.
Even though he wasn't the founder of PayPal, he merged with PayPal, right? With Peter Thiel's company. But we'll call that 3 unicorns, right? So go and take a look and see how many people in the world. I bet you less than 20. Next question.
All right, our friends from Celsius Hub, any plans to translate the app into multiple languages?
Yeah, we need to hire those 50 people and then we can do all those things, right? Right now we're just swamped Again, we have a new version of the app coming out. It's going to be slicker, faster, better. We're adding swap in the app. We're adding purchase in the app. We're adding all these great services. That's coming out in January. We're adding proof of community. We're adding all these different things, right? A lot of stuff is happening. So for us, globalization, making it run in 10 different languages and all that stuff is something that we need to do, but all of our resources right now are stretched just to process all of these giveaways that Zach and Alex give you on every show, right? Everybody, like I think 9,000 people used the DNS code in the last few days. Bang, 9,000 people, right? So every time we do something like that, even though it's good for the community, it puts a lot of pressure on the whole company to make sure that everything works. And there's always bugs and little things and people who say, oh, I should have gotten in, I didn't. And people complain, oh, it took you 2 days to get back to me. Yeah, we have several thousand tickets every day that we handle. So just all I'm asking you guys is just to bear with us, right? It's not like we don't like you or we push your tickets to the bottom of the to-do list. There are just a lot of newbies, a lot of people who come in and they have just basic questions, right? You might be a pro, you know everything, and you just have a simple question, but we are trying to help everybody get to that financial freedom and to financial independence so you can switch that job and do what you actually want to do in life, right? You're going to be much, much happier. Your marriage is going to be better. Your relationship with your kids, everything is going to be better, right? That financial stress propagates like dominoes. It just makes everything much worse. And in most cases, there's no one else to blame. You can't blame the bank. You can't blame the credit card company. You can only blame yourself for piling all that debt on your shoulders through that instinctive, like, oh my God, I got to have this bag. Oh my God, I got to get a new car. Oh my God, I got to get a bigger house, right? Well, all that then results in you getting stuck in that job that you don't really like, right? So let's reverse all of that and change it to the pursuit of happiness, right? Look at our Constitution. What is the pursuit of happiness, right? How do you make yourself happy? It's not about reaching that goal, okay? We created something like 70 or 75 millionaires. Zach, look up at the top 200. Tell me how many millionaires, right? The last guy was a millionaire, right? Probably 75 by now. So it's not that those millionaires suddenly became, the minute they crossed 1 million, they're like, oh, now I'm happy. That's it. Yesterday, when Cell Token was 215, I was not happy, but now it's 225. I'm happy. That's not how it works, right? So the pursuit of happiness is your ability to mentally, right, enjoy everything you're doing, right? Find benefit or fun or happiness in what you do, right? Something to do, someone to love.
74 millionaires.
I'm good, right? I projected 75, so yeah, not bad, right?
447.
It was 61. It was 61. Yeah, it was 61 2 days ago when I checked. So
incredible.
But my point is that if you actually relieve the pressure, the financial pressure on yourself, you will find that everything works better. And only in America, this craziness of living on borrowed money, living by borrowing from the future is an American invention. You can't, if you live in India or in most countries around the world, you can't just go and get $20,000 worth of credit and spend it on all kinds of things you don't need, right? And then pay interest for the rest of your life. It's an American invention and it's not a good invention. We got to put that thing to retirement. Next question.
All right. Question.
That's why the banks hate me and I hate the banks, because they definitely don't want you to pay off your credit card. Next.
Yeah, you're taking away their income, and oh man,
That's
what
right.
are the banks going to do? Bert Gummer says, lots of people missed the DNS promo code. Can you please reactivate it? Sorry, not right now, but we will be doing other specials. Better believe.
Yeah, we have plenty of specials, so you're not, not a big deal. Just tune into the next AMA. Every AMA we do one, right? So we just gave you uh, what I think is a really, really good offer, right?
Yeah.
A
All right.
risk-free way to take the money you have in the bank that are earning 0.1% at best, 0.1, 0.2%, and earn 25 times more and have no financial risk, right? Because we're giving you an asset that is worth exactly the same as what you're giving us. So you take your dollars, you go to Coinbase, you convert them into USDC, you send them to our wallet, and we will give you the equivalent value and sell token. Again, we have to, it might not be legal for Americans. I have to see what we're allowed and not allowed to do. But if you are doing more than $100,000, let's start with those guys. We'll practice the program so we know all the rules on few big fish, and then we'll publicize all the details for everybody else. We're going to keep this program running. We're not going to shut it down next week when we have a new promotion. Okay? So I'm doing it
Nice.
specifically to convince the guys who are right there on the edge to take the next step and start hodling.
All right. Another question from hashtag Celsius AMA. And I think you spoke about this on the interview with Digital Asset News. That was a great show. I recommend everyone go watch it. Any comments on the liquid.com situation?
No comments. Look, I don't know the details of what's happening in liquid.com. I don't even know the details at GoDaddy. We're still waiting for them to tell us what's going on. Everything is back to normal. Everything is working fine. We reset all of our passwords, all of our keys. We basically assumed that something happened, even though nothing happened, just for security reasons, right? Obviously, several other companies had similar events, like Uniswap, like Liquid. YouTube was down. Coinbase was down. I mean, something definitely going on, and it's more than just Celsius. So within the span of 2 or 3 days. So we don't know if it's again North Korea trying to hack GoDaddy, or if it's just somebody inside GoDaddy who made a mistake and they just don't want to tell us, right? So we're waiting to hear from them, and when we have the information, we'll hopefully be able to share it with you, unless somebody tells us we're not allowed to share it. So that's where we are. Next question.
All right. Nasty Evil Ninja is asking about Australia. When will the Australian dollar be accepted in Celsius? He really wants to get more
Uh,
involved.
yeah, so we're waiting for that license to be issued. Waiting again because of COVID. I think things are just slowing down. The bureaucrats don't have their stamp. They left their stamp in the office, but they're working from home. I don't know why it's slow, but they're not issuing things as fast as they should be. So the minute they issue us the license, what the license allows us to do is take Aussie dollar directly as a direct deposits from all of our customers over there. For now, you have to do USDC or USDT or one of the other, which I know is a pain in the neck, but it's few extra steps. But that's what it is right now.
Sure. Okay. Hey, Alex. Celsius has had some coins labeled as coming soon for quite a while. Why are they taking so long to come online?
Yeah, so sometimes it's a security issue, sometimes it's issue with our custodians. Like we basically rely on them to launch it, and they don't launch it, and then we're stuck, right? And sometimes you'll see a coin just zoom by, like Comp, right? Comp just appeared there for a day, and it was live the next day because it's an ERC20. So we are totally beholden by the people that provide the infrastructure for us. And unfortunately, there's a bunch of coins there that I would love. BNB, I would love to have BNB, but it just there's some issues with it. So we're working on all of them. If we decide that we cannot get there, then we'll just remove it from the list. But as long as it's on the list, that means it's coming soon. Next.
All right. Dude Sean's asking, will Celsius Celsius be able to post a list of preferred self-directed IRA vendors? And this is something that a lot of people ask. They want to put their assets in an IRA. Is there a way that we could help facilitate those?
Yeah, I definitely want to add that to the site. So let's do this. We're asking you guys, the community, to recommend to us who you're using that you can vouch for, because I have a few vendors, but I don't want to recommend them unless I know that they did everything right and you're happy with them and things like that. So send us your lawyer or accountant or whoever is the advisor that you use to set up your IRA, self-directed IRA, and we will hopefully we'll have someone that is recommended by 4 or 5 people, and we'll post those as the highly recommended ones, and you'll be able to just click on the link and go and work with those people. So we'll add that to the website.
All right. Next question from hashtag Celsius AMA on Twitter. When will Celsius be on a new exchange? It's been a long time. And Alex, maybe you could go further into why we're so cautious about where we list Cell Token.
Yeah. So remember, exchanges only care about trading, right? Exchanges are not listing tokens because they say, wow, my community loves Cell Token, I need to add it. Exchanges care about how much volume does the token have. Will I make plenty money if I list it, right? Are traders or hedge funds or market makers going to show up and trade even more in that asset? And how much money I'm going to make out of it? That's the only thing they care about. How much in fees can they charge you? So for Celsius, being listed on Uniswap is much, much better for the community, right? Because we care about the community. We don't charge any fees, right? So it's not like we're going to make more money by putting you on some exchange. Because some exchanges do offer us revenue share, but that would be betraying you by behind the curtain cutting a deal with this or that exchange to do a revenue share on the fees they charge you. So the beauty of Uniswap is that you get to, for example, convert your ETH into Cell or your USDC into Cell, or the other way around. And the fee goes to the people who provide liquidity on Uniswap, meaning people that hold Cell token are making the fees. Celsius doesn't make anything. Uniswap does not make anything. 100% of it goes to either the person who's buying or selling or the person who is providing the liquidity. So for us, from a always act in the best interest of the community, that is a much better, it's 1,000 times better arrangement than listing on Binance and making it really easy for you because you already have a Binance account, right? So I'd much rather pull you out of Binance, force you to go and learn how to use Uniswap, which is not that difficult. There's a video from Aaron Bennett. I think it's if it's not on our channel yet, it will be on our channel by tomorrow, that walks you through that, how to open a MetaMask, how to link it to your Uniswap account, or how to provide liquidity on the other side. So the large exchanges are still, even though it's illegal for them, it's illegal for Binance to seek a listing fee. Now they're calling it a donation to our, what do you call it, to our nonprofit. Come on, it's like money that's supposed to go to the left pocket is now going to the right pocket, and you just put a label on the right pocket that says nonprofit, right? We all know that it's fees. So instead of paying Binance $1 million fee, I rather take that $1 million and pay $3.2 million in interest instead of $2.2 million in interest to my community. You understand? So just because all of you got used to trading on Binance or on Huobi or on OKX or whatever, doesn't mean it's good for you. Just because you're using a credit card from a bank doesn't mean it's good for you, right? So I'm here to try to change your habits. I'm here to convince you that what Celsius is doing is in your best interest and in the best interest of all the other people sitting on the bus right next to you, including me with my wallet, right? Today, I put more coins on Uniswap to provide more liquidity so it'd be cheaper for you to buy sell token. I put hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of sell token in ETH to make it easier for you guys to buy sell tokens. You would pay less of a fee, the slippage would be lower, because the more I put on Uniswap as an LP liquidity provider, the cheaper it is for you to buy. Even if you wanted to buy $50,000, you will not feel the slippage. It would be a very low fee. And I'm going to do that again tomorrow and the next day, and so on and so on, right? I'm going to have millions of dollars worth of sell token and ETH to provide as much liquidity as possible, so it's as cheap as possible for you guys. And you can do that too. You don't have to rely on me. You can do it too and earn yield, right? And so on. So those are the things that I want to promote, and there are other things that I'm trying to kill. I'm trying to eliminate because they're not in your best interest. Next question.
All right, something in my notes here. Talking about the future possibility of buying tokens in the app at a discount. Right now, you can buy sell token at a discount, but is that something that we could possibly bring to Bitcoin, Ethereum, other assets?
Yeah, that is definitely something we're thinking about. So we can't spill all the beans in one AMA. So you're going to have to tune to future AMAs and see when and if we're doing that kind of stuff. Next question.
All right. Again, please submit all your questions on hashtag Celsius AMA. People are really excited for Polkadot. Is there an update on the Polkadot listings? That's something we should see in the next week or two.
Yeah, it's definitely close. So it's just a little bit more testing and we're good to go. It's going to go live either next week or the week after.
All right. Our friends at the Finance are asking, are there any plans to burn sell tokens?
We did burn some sell token. We burned some sell token when we did the ICO, and some of them didn't sell as promised. And there are tokens being burned every day because people make mistakes and send them to the wrong contract, or they send them in the wrong way, or so those are non-recoverable sell tokens. So actually, we have to update the circulating supply because it does go down over time, just like Bitcoin, right? People lose their keys and all kind of stuff like that. So we need to try to kind of keep better track of it. But it's a good point that yes, the circulating supply in Celsius can only go down. It can never go up. You cannot create new sell. If you don't believe me, go and read the smart contract. There's a link to it on CoinGecko or on our website, and you can definitely dig into it and tell me I'm wrong. But there's no way to create new sell token. So, but there are ways for the sell token that exist to disappear or not be accessible. So definitely there's a deflationary pressure. The bigger the community, the higher the chance that people will lose their keys. Again, Bitcoin after 10 years, about 10% of all the Bitcoins already have not been touched in several years. So there's a high chance that those are lost Bitcoin. Next question.
All right. Celsius Hub is asking, how did you come up with the 700 million sell token supply when you launched the company?
695 million. I don't think there was something special about it. It's not like that's the price to sell 5 years from now. I don't know what. It's just a number. So I don't think there was a special intent for that behind the number. I think it was 700 million, and then we burned something like 5 million. So it's, or 2.5 million. I don't remember the exact number, but it was, I think that it was a round number to start with, like 700 million.
All right, Marky's asking, have you considered reaching out to YouTubers who do stock and dividend investing for interviews and introductions?
We should, yeah. No, I definitely think that as we're expanding, we should talk more to personal finance people and YouTubers who kind of cover stock market. Look, for those guys, they look at it as funny money. They're like, when you talk to them, they're like, so you have some monopoly money, so who cares? And you think your monopoly money is up 5,000% or something. Come on, you know, like if you put it in a real stock market, it would crash to zero immediately, because real investors, you know, the guys who buy Tesla at all-time highs, or Amazon at all-time highs. Those are the real guys that know how to do stuff. So, look, all of you know that we created something out of nothing, but we created it for the community, right? So you show me a public company on NASDAQ that was created for the people, by the people, that is more community oriented, that is distributing more to its members every week, and I will list on NASDAQ. Okay, how about that? Go find me one. You know.
Getting
Next
people
question.
worked up here. A question from our good friend Otisa. He's asking, will U.S. residents be able to use the in-app swap? Also, what assets will be available on the in-app swap? And I think he's referring to the one that Wasim is working on, not Cell Swap.
Yeah, so I think it's pretty broad. I don't know the details of which assets, but it's pretty broad because if you're using this direct peer-to-peer swap, then different rules apply versus if you're running through an exchange or some kind of a marketplace and so on. So we hope that through that regulation, we will have less compliance issues and be able to include more assets. So probably like everything that is on Coinbase that we support as well is probably should be approved. I don't see any reason why if it's on Coinbase, it should not be approved with us. So that's kind of like, if you want a high level list, I would probably look at that list and see if we're missing something there. Next question.
All right, Tiago's asking, will there be a chance for the community to help translate the app? And I think this goes into a bigger question of content in other languages. We have so much content in English, and then like Alex will say, we have people from all over the world speaking in English, but you can tell it's not their native language. So we want to encourage people to make content in their native language so everyone in the world can understand the message. You know, we've got plenty of English language stuff.
Yeah, I think we've repeated ourselves 1,000 times in English. So it's okay if you dub any of my videos, just take them and dub them in your language, or take one of the videos that does a review of Celsius and dub it in your language. If you don't, if you're worried about permissions, send us an email. We will get you permission to do it, or we'll ask Aaron Bennett or somebody else to give you permission to do it. They would love it because you'll be promoting their videos, right? So that is if you don't want to create something yourself from scratch, you just want to dub, right? Just record over the voice of the video in your own language, and or put subtitles or whatever. That is the stuff we need, because you want to open the Philippines, you want to open Malaysia, you want to open all these other countries, Vietnam. They want to hear it in their native tongue. They don't want to hear it in my broken English. Next question.
So like Alex, I think that'd be actually great. You do a video
in Russian.
in the other languages that you can speak.
Окей, I do one. Спасибо. Все покупайте sell. Сейчас, давай, покупайте. Пошли.
You don't have to yell. Hey, you don't have to yell. My gosh.
That's not yelling. In Russian, that's just speaking normal.
All right. So a question here. Why is it that PayPal is supporting...
Wait, you don't want the Hebrew version? Should we do the Hebrew version or no?
Is it more yelling?
יאללה, כולם הולכים קונים sell. תלכו תקנו sell. יאללה, יאללה.
Yalla yalla. I hear that a lot around the company. What's yalla yalla exactly?
Let's go. Move it. You know? It's actually in Arabic.
Let's
Yalla
keep it
yalla is
rolling.
in Arabic, but in Israel we use it a lot. So
nice. Okay. So the PayPal. So PayPal is support Bitcoin, and we're going to support other assets, but they don't let you actually hold the tokens. Why do you think that is? What's causing them up from having more of like a Cash App service where you can actually send and transfer crypto?
well, yeah. Look, they partnered with the partners. It's not really, they didn't go and build all the infrastructure and everything that Coinbase or Celsius or somebody else did, right? They just partner with somebody and they display to you, hey, you want to buy Bitcoin? And when you say yes, buy me one Bitcoin, they take $18,000 and give it to somebody that runs it for them, Paxos or somebody like that, and that party buys the Bitcoin, and they just show you, hey, you have one Bitcoin, right? So they don't really hold the assets, they don't have wallets, they don't do anything. They just do the money part, and somebody else does all the crypto part. But I'm sure if the program is successful, they're going to start offering all the services, just like Cash App or just like Celsius or somebody else.
All right. Next question here. What prevents Celsius from changing the 80% to 70, 60, or 50%? Is that ever going to come into question in the future?
Yeah, so again, I'm probably the largest holder inside Celsius. If I'm reducing that percentage, I'll be taking money out of my pocket, right? Because I'll be paying myself less. So the way we build Celsius is that all of our interests are aligned, right? I'm not, my interest and your interest are exactly the same. We're sitting next to each other on the bus, right? So I agree with you. In a normal company, like if you look at Google or Apple or whatever, the executives there are sitting and saying, how can we take more from these customers and put it more in our pocket? That's what they do all day long. That's how banks ended up charging you 25 different fee, inactivity fee, right? Saturday fee, fake bank account fee, you name it, right? I mean, where do they come up with this stuff, right? So why? Because they need more revenues, and the easiest way to get revenues to reach to the customer's pocket. After all, the customers never complain, or if they complain, you just get rid of them. Like who is that? Because it's one guy against the bank, one of the largest banks in the world. Who do you think is going to win, right? So here, everything is designed exactly the opposite of that, right? Always act in the best interest of the community. So of course we can, legally we can go and lower the fees, lower the income to 50%. But if you look at Celsius, every week, almost every week, we pay you more and more and more, right? You meaning the entire community, right? So why? Because it's good for us, good for me, it's good for Zach, it's good for everybody in the Celsius economy. Next question.
Yeah, taking part in the incentive structure, for cell token holders, users, and shareholders, it works out for everybody really well.
And it
That's
changes
amazing how you guys
behavior.
set this up.
Right, and it changes people's behavior, because when people have that in their wallet, they are thinking about their wallet, right? They're saying, oh, I'm not going to do that, what you're asking me to do. That's going to hurt my wallet, right? I don't even have to tell them not to do that. They know instinctively that, if we do that, that's going to hurt me as a Celsian. It might help me a little bit as a company employee, but it's definitely not going to help me on my wallet. So why would I do that? Why would I help that? Next.
All right, people are asking what positions are open right now, and are you still looking for an assistant?
Still looking. I have a lot of applicants. People say, I can't believe no one applied. A lot of people applied, but most people are either don't have any experience in crypto, or they're, they come from an area that's not going to really help me with the data. I need someone who can kind of dive into the details right away and work with me on different projects. So no perfect applicant yet, but we're still looking. Again, send your application to jobs@celsius.network, or you can send it directly to me, alex@mashinsky.com. And again, if you come highly recommended, if somebody inside Celsius highly recommends you, that is definitely very beneficial. It will get you to the front of the line. But otherwise, we have plenty of positions, like trading desk. We're still looking for several people, both in the UK, in Hong Kong, in Australia. So if you have any experience trading crypto or transacting in crypto in some kind of a financial institution, I don't mean trading like you watch the screen and you buy and sell it. It's more about like back office, like for example, running on the OTC desk. We're probably gonna need 2 or 3 people just for the OTC desk, and you'll be getting requests from people. They'll be sending you USDC, and you'll be sending them Cell token, for example, right? So managing that kind of transition. But again, you're part of the team, and you always have. We have very dynamic opportunities inside the company. So even though we may start it on the OTC desk, 3 months later, you can move somewhere else. Like almost everybody in our company, Kim, who's sitting right here next to us, uh, started as my assistant, and she graduated from being my assistant. Now she's running a whole bunch of stuff in marketing. So, right, she didn't think she's gonna do that. She wasn't sure when I promoted her. She was like, "Really, it's a promotion? Are you sure?" You know, and yes, of course, it's a promotion. So we have what we call job mobility inside the company. So what we want to do is look at your skills, figure out what you're really good at, and put you to do that job. Oh, obviously, if you want to. If you don't want to, you can do whatever you want for the rest of your life. But the point is that there is mobility inside the company. Next question.
And when you're looking for someone to join the team, what are like the most valuable traits? I understand that
Passion.
technical skills are important, but what do you really need to have to make it in the company?
Passion, right? You have to show us that you're passionate about what we're doing. Like you're not just looking for a job. If you're just looking for a job, there are 10 million businesses in the United States. Go find a job over there, right? If you just want to join the gravy train because you think sell is going to $10, and you're like, oh my God, if I just convince these people that I'm passionate about helping others and I jump in, you're not going to make it inside Celsius because the other the rest of the team is going to sniff you out in 2 seconds. They'll be like, oh, he's a fake. He's not here, or she is not here for the right reason, right? So there are plenty of people who didn't make it inside Celsius. It's not like it's guaranteed. Oh, look, I did an interview and I fooled them, and now I'm inside, right? That you're going to last for a few weeks. So if you're really passionate about it and you really care about the mission, or you have some ideas, like you're saying, look, I know how to do it even better, right? That's what we want to see, right? I had somebody send me a few very, very strong ideas, and I immediately said, set up an interview immediately. I don't need to even read the resume. I just read the cover letter. It was like, okay, he definitely cares. He definitely is thinking out of the box, right? So these are the things we're looking for. It's less, oh, I have a degree from Harvard and I worked at Bank of America, Citibank, and whatever else. That's not going to impress me. Moving on. Next question.
All right, Wade is asking. You mentioned recently that you were going to lower the simplex fees from 3.5% to 2%. Is that live now?
I don't think it's live, but I think it's even going even lower. So the next release of the app, where we are fixing some of these things. So I don't know if it's December or January, but the next release will have those new fees. It will have many more currencies, and it will have many more options. It's not just lowering the fees. There's a lot of new functionality that we are adding that is tied to the Simplex partnership. Very excited about it. It's definitely very, very good for all the Celsians because less fees is good for everybody. Less fees for me too to pay as a Celsius user. And again, we lowered the fees ACH to 0.1%. I think the fees for SEPA, European wires, are, I think, 0.4% or something like that. So we are continuously, as our volume goes up, right, as your volume with us as a community grows up, we keep going back to the vendors and saying, hey, we are your largest customer. What are you charging us? Come on, lower the fees, right? Look at Liquid. Liquid used to charge 15 cell tokens for withdrawal fee. Now they charge one. Do you think that happened by itself, or do you think we kept squeezing them and squeezing them and squeezing them, right? Next question.
So with the holidays coming up, we're going to be seeing our family. Um, could you give us some tips to share about what crypto is, share about Celsius? A lot of our families have heard about this, but have not yet been convinced. What's a good way to kind of get them over the edge to try to walk into the space?
Well, look, I mean, it happened to all of us, right? That we have the gathering and everybody had to buy everybody a present or two or five. And when you get these presents, you say to yourself, oh my God, these people really think I need another hammer? Or they bought me this toolkit, or they bought me something, a third camera that I have, or whatever. 9 out of 10 presents that you get don't hit the mark, right? They just wasted money. Now, again, we all do it because we can't show up empty-handed, and we can't pretend like we don't care about the other person, and we do our best, hopefully buying something that they actually need. But again, 9 out of 10 times we miss the target. I know with my wife, 9 out of 10 times I miss the target. That's why I just take her to the store and I keep pointing at things until she says yes. That's the only safe way to buy her something that she actually wants, right? So my point is that all that wasted money could have been working for you for the rest of your life. That is the shame here. It's not that, okay, it was worth it because I showed that I care, or I showed up to the family gathering, or I put the box under the tree at Christmas, right? That's not the point. The point is that if you want to give somebody a gift that keeps on giving, you need to give them something that is helping them with their, for example, with their financial goals, with their financial freedom, or educating them or training them on how to do what you've done for yourself already, right? Showing them something that is acting in their best interest. I think that kind of present is going to do much more good than yet another bag or a purse or pair of shoes or whatever, all that stuff. When you look at it, after it's been sitting in your closet for a few years, you say to yourself, oh my God, all this money, if I just had it right now. And that money could have made money on itself by compounding. Next question.
In my closet, I just see little cell tokens everywhere. I said that could have been 1,000 cell tokens. That could have been 1,000 cell tokens. That could have been 1,000. So it haunts me. It
Exactly.
keeps me up at night.
If you have enough, right?
Oh,
If you have enough wealth, your money pays your interest income, just your income is enough to buy all those things. So it's a question of order. What's the order of events? Do I first buy all the things that I think I need? They're going to make me happy. And when you have them, you realize you're not happy, but then you have the debt and you can't get rid of the debt. Or you reverse the order. You first accumulate the wealth. The money is now working for you. It throws you free cash, and you use that free cash to buy the things. And then you care much less if you bought things you don't need, because the money continues to earn that rewards every month, every week, right? That is the question. Just what is the order of the events? I'm not telling people don't spend money, right? I mean, if you just keep accumulating wealth and you die the richest guy in the world, that's not good either, right? So I'm not saying don't give presents. I'm just saying, what's the order? What comes first? And that's where most people get it wrong.
yeah.
Next.
There's a lot of great apps. Like I use Easy Calculator, and on there has a compound interest calculator that you can say, how much are my expenses, and then put in an interest rate of 8%, and it tells you how much money you need before you're, net financially independent. And I used to
Yep.
play with that thing all the time, figure it out.
Good. Now, you're probably the only customer they have. Most people don't do that.
Oh, okay. I guess I'm all right
I'm
then.
just kidding.
Here's a great question from Tiago. Are there positions with Celsius available only by relocating, or are there some remote positions available?
No, a lot of them are remote. We do have offices, or people, groups of people all over the world, but we don't require you to relocate. If you have relevant experience and you're a self-starter and you know what you're doing, you don't have to be in New York or in London or in Tel Aviv or in. We now have several people in Hong Kong, so we're pretty flexible. I mean, again, you just have to convince us that you are a self-starter, right? That you can manage what you need to do every day by yourself. I think we have more people in Atlanta right now than in New York City, for example, right? So definitely a few people in Florida, San Francisco, So I would just apply and convince us that we must add you to the team. I think that's the most important thing you got to do. Don't worry about where you live.
Yeah, that passion is number one. And like I don't know,
Yes.
I've had a dozen ambassadors reach out to me with their resumes and jumping all over these spots. So that's one of my favorite things is forwarding those to HR.
Yes.
Okay, with banks now recommending Bitcoin, how do you think that's going to change the platform?
Look, again, I think I said that in one of the interviews on YouTube. Banks are not recommending because they want to. Banks are recommending it because they don't have a choice, right? They're seeing more and more of the customers pulling assets out of the bank and putting them into this thing called crypto, and they don't want to feel like be left behind, right? So they have to recommend it. It's just recommending Bitcoin at 18,000 after you've been saying bad things about it for 10 years. It will be like me suddenly turning around and saying, "Here, banks are your friends." Here, see, be the same thing, like me going taking my
It's
shirt
a
and saying,
very
"No,
bank
banks are your
thing
friends."
to do.
You know, so we know what's what, right? So I wouldn't listen to them when they didn't recommend it, and I wouldn't listen to them now when they recommend it. Okay, moving on.
Getting a report now that Cell Token is now number 25 on CoinGecko. How do you feel about that,
Wow.
Alex? You got a top 25 asset.
Look, it's definitely humbling. I mean, I remember we were 2,100 or something. We were at the end of the list, and we kept sitting there saying, gosh, no one understands what we're doing. No one, I mean, obviously the community understood because they kept joining and they kept trusting us and so on. But look, for me, that's nothing new. I mean, when I was pitching voice over IP, people thought I was crazy, right? When I was telling people, hey, let's put wireless in the New York subway, people were like, don't you think there's a reason why there isn't service? There will never be service. Stop wasting everybody's time and talking about these things that will never happen. So every difficult project starts that way. It starts as something that looks impossible. It looks impossible that you can pay this kind of interest on assets. But now, how many companies are doing it? All of DeFi is just basically copying Celsius, right? Just creating yield out of lending. Well, who came up with that idea? So again, we love that, and that's just DeFi. DeFi is this tiny little thing compared to all of finance. Most people in finance, if we went right now with this camera to Wall Street and started interviewing people, which I've done by the way every year, we have those things on our channel. Go look it up. But people laughed at us. They were like, "What? What are you talking about?" And this is back when banks paid 2% and we paid 10, right? So they were only paying 5 times more. Now we're paying 100 times more. They pay you 0.1% because they lowered the rates, and we pay you 10%. That's 100 times more, right? So again, it's not that we're so good; they are so bad. They're stealing from you even worse than they used to just 2 years ago when they paid you 2%, right? I mean, the banks have record profit, meaning that even after they lowered these rates, they're still making more profit. How is that possible, right? Think to yourself. Because they keep stealing more and more and more. They take in more and more in fees and all kind of other ways that you don't understand, and that's why you keep giving them your money. But just look at the results. The results are they're paying you even less and they're earning even more. Ask yourself, how is that possible? Record profits for banks, record all-time record profits, record bonuses to the executives. How is that possible?
Even
Next question.
when the government did the loan programs, I think they were getting a 3% commission on those hundreds of billions of dollars. It's just disgusting.
Yeah, free money, free money. You
Oh
you were going out of
gosh.
business because your restaurant is closed or your pizza shop has no customers because of COVID, and your bank who gave you that PPP loan made free money by just taking it from the government, giving it to you, and keeping 3% to themselves, right?
All right. Crypto Ants asking, how is Celsius doing as a company? Revenue, company assets. Can you talk a little bit of health about the health of Celsius itself and perhaps some projections for next year?
Yeah. So look, Celsius is doing phenomenally well. Celsius is the largest holder of Cell Token. So if Cell Token is up 5,000%, what do you think happened to the Celsius balance sheet? It is up 5,000%. So now Celsius has close to $700 million of just Cell Token, right? It has hundreds of millions of dollars. I laugh because I saw this announcement from BlockFi, because they saw us announcing the stuff that we have billions of dollars in AUM and we have hundreds of millions of dollars of our own money. So they announced we raised 100 million, right? Yes, you raised 100 million, but you burned 80 million, so you have 20 million left, right? So it's not about how much you raised; it's about how much do you have. We raised almost nothing. We didn't take any money from VCs, right? We created an asset that increased in value while everybody else benefited, and now we're going to use that assets to guarantee people that if they give us, for example, dollars, they're not going to lose money. Guarantee that if something bad happens, we will use that balance sheet to pay off from there first before anything happens to the customer's deposits, right? So these are the things that no one else can say because they just don't have the money, right? Nexa can say that, BlockFi can say that, no one can say that, right? And if they can, good, ask them, say, okay, so how much money do you have in the bank? Not how much did you raise in the bank. If something happens, right? All these guys had hacks and stole customer data and they had SIM swaps and all this other stuff, right? Good. So people lost the money, right? So are you gonna use your investors' money to pay them back? No, you're not, right? So that's really the issue. So we, because we are the community, there's no community in Celsius. We are the community, all of us, right? We all huddling together, right? So that's why, and we're profitable, right? So we are generating profit every week, every month. We're generating more money that we're putting into that balance sheet. So it's getting bigger and bigger and stronger and stronger. And we'll announce that again. Part of this audit that I was talking about, it's going to divide AUM, assets under management, which are the community assets, from what Celsius has. But I'm telling you up front that Celsius has hundreds of millions of dollars, including a lot of it in cash, to basically be strong and be able to build better products, scale what we're doing, grow the community, and also be there for a rainy day. Yeah, Next question.
All right, we're about coming up on time. Do you have any last closing
Yep.
thoughts for everybody?
Look, it's amazing. Like you said, definitely my third unicorn, but definitely a humbling experience of how fast this is growing. And who knew that if you just did good, you're going to do so well for yourself, for the employees, for everybody else. So we are proving everybody wrong. We're proving all the skeptics, all the naysayers, all the fudders wrong. And it's not about wrong that Cells token is doing so well. Wrong about the fact that you can pay the community $100 million and not be a scam, not be a Ponzi scheme, not be taking from this guy and paying that guy, actually earning it from institutions, from exchanges, from retail loans, right? From DeFi. Those are the four sources of income that we have, real income, unlike many other projects who are just, doing farming. Farming is not real yield. There's a whole an hour and a half of me talking about that with Miko and a few other people on the panel. So and I did it also with Dan, right? Digital Asset News, which is live now on his channel and on our channel. So look it up. Just go dig through that. And again, so we talked about the lesson of the day, right? So I just want to repeat that because I think that is the most important thing today. It's about you. It's not about me. It's not about Celsius. It's not about the Cell token. It's about how you create a path for yourself with the pursuit of happiness, with changing your behavior, with improving your life by making I'm not asking for huge changes. I'm asking for very small changes that are in your best interest, right? And if you make those changes, everything is going to be easier, right? So those are the things that you need to focus on. And it is very hard. It is, I'm sure a lot of people are watching this and saying, come on. He's just like all these other guys, self-improvement videos that I bought or that somebody told me about, and they never work out. Just like my diet, I never lose any weight, right? This is not the same thing, right? Again, we have hundreds of thousands of people doing it. If you don't believe me, just go on Twitter, go on Telegram, and talk to the community. Don't talk to me. Go talk to the community and see what people are doing, and are there real results? Because nothing that we're doing is special. It's not like we invented a new way of doing things. This is not new at all. We're just taking the best secrets from the richest people, and we're showing everyday person how to take advantage of the same thing. And almost every week I share with you what I do, right? And some of these lessons are not applying to you, and you should just keep watching, change the channel, or go and watch something else. And some of them do apply, so you have to pick and choose what is good for you, what is not good for you, what is applicable, what is not, and what do you believe in, what you don't believe. And you should check your own facts, verify your own facts. But I'm telling you from the bottom of my heart, we're here because we care, and we're here because we want the community to do better together. Because the more we huddle, the more assets we have, the more we can extract out of those same people who are stealing from you when you go to them one-on-one, right? You go to Binance one-on-one, try to negotiate something with them. Let's see how far you're gonna get. Or Coinbase, or Bank of America, or CD, or JP Morgan, or any of those guys. You're not gonna be able to get anything out of them. Only if you have billions of dollars, they will listen to you, because that's what they do. They cater to billionaires. They do anything. Well, guess what? You're a billionaire because you're part of the Celsius community. And the Celsius community has overall, including the Celsius assets, over $3 billion. There's only one company in crypto that has more than Celsius, and that is Grayscale, right? And soon we'll be bigger than them. We're definitely growing faster than them. All right. Thank you very much. Great to have you guys. Again, thanks for your trust, for contribution, for being active on all the different channels, and tell us what we can do better. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks, everybody.